Would you like your prime time supersized?
Hey, what's up, my peoples? EmGo here, the freaking geek himself, and today we will be reviewing the 3A Transformers The Last Knight, Optimus Prime. So here we are, and there he is, and first and foremost, as always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging. I have to move him to the side because this is a very large box. And as you can see right up front here, we just have a very large image there of Prime, Transformers The Last Knight, Optimus Prime. On this side of the box, Transformers The Last Knight, Optimus Prime. Autobot symbols. Autobot symbol, Transformers Last Knight, blah 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 blah. On the top, nothing. On the bottom, nothing. On the box, you have a little schematic image there of Prime, and again, Transformers The Last Knight, Optimus Prime, blah blah blah. And this just opens up via some Velcro here. And that just comes out, and everything will fall apart, because it's just a big block of a big styrofoam block here that's encased in. If we move that off to the side, again, Transformers, The Last Knight, Autobot symbols, Optimus Prime, don't know how we can see that, but you know, open it up, and in here is where all your accessories are stored, and in here is where the figure itself is stored, where things and stuff and things, and that's basically it for the packaging. Then moving right along, here we have Optimus Prime as he appeared in Transformers The Last Knight, and this figure is absolutely spectacular in my opinion. I freaking love it. This thing looks like it jumped right off the screen, and it's amazing. I love it, I love it, I love it so much. But let's get in closer so we can take a look at this beautiful head sculpt and all of this detail. Tons of detail on this figure. So let's get in close here on the head sculpt. A lovely head sculpt. As you can see, this is a more Nemesis version here because he does have the red going down the side of his face. But the head sculpt is fantastic. Nice paintwork on it. And all throughout the figure, it has kind of these little, kind of scuffs and whatnot. Make it look kind of weathered and worn, like he's been through some scraps. But a really nicely done, detailed head sculpt, even the top of his head. Just tons of detail going on here. Love the blue that they used on this figure also. Looks great, looks just great. His neck, even his neck has a ton of detail with some bits there picked out in gold. The paintwork on this, I think, is just amazing. You see all that nice flamey goodness there on his chest. Even has little Western Star logos there on his pecs. But yeah, tons of detail going on in this figure, and just looks amazing. Little Autobot symbol right there, molded and painted on his chest. But yeah, just looks amazing. Again, just tons of detail going on. Great paintwork, in my opinion. Got these little hoses and whatnot here, which are just made of a rubber. But overall, this looks great. Great, great, great. Got Cybertronian markings going down his shins there. And again, look at all that detail. And the flames look great as well. Again, just tons of detail going on in there, as you can see. His big old feet. Again, lots of detail. And the paintwork looks great. Even the bottoms of his feet are detailed, which they didn't have to do, but they did it. They did it. And moving up the back here again, lots of detail. Wonderful paintwork. Just looks amazing. And you got the chrome smokestacks there on his back. It's really cool. Let's take a closer look here at his arms. Got the shoulder pads there. Again, just looking scuffed and worn. Nice flames there. Some big old elbow pads. And the flame work is really nice with the flames. Looks really good. Hands also nicely detailed. With some paint going on in there. Just all around, just a superb looking figure. Absolutely love it. Now, as far as articulation goes, there's a lot of stuff that moves on this figure, so hopefully I remember everything, but we'll start at the top and work our way down. The head is on a ball joint as well as at the base of the neck, so you have 2 ball joints to work with there, so you got a lot of wiggly-waggly that you can do. He can look up, he can look down, and can rotate about that far, pretty much as it needs to rotate, so you have a lot of good range of movement there. These shoulder pieces right here can move up and out of the way of the shoulders themselves because they can actually move up. So you can shift the shoulders upward if you want to. The shoulder pads themselves are on a ball joint. If you can see a ball joint and a hinge there and a hinge right up here. So you can move these shoulder pads out of the way to accommodate arm movements. And these sections here can also rotate if you need them to move out of the way. There's even some detail in here that you can barely see, but look, even some detail in there painted in metallic red, which they didn't have to do. They didn't have to paint that because you can barely see it, but they painted it. But as far as that goes, the arms can move out that far. You do have bicep rotation. That is on a soft ratchet. The outward movement for the shoulders is also on a soft ratchet. His pecs actually have articulation. He has articulated pecs. That's right, articulated pecs. His pecs are on a double joint here, so they can shift inward to accommodate forward movement on the shoulders as well. So you can kind of get his arms going in front of him if you want, and his pecs will move out of the way to accommodate it, which is really just really kind of freaky, but hey, it's a thing that moves if you need it to move. As far as the elbows go, let's just travel on down here. He does have a double jointed elbow, again on some soft ratchet joints. So you get a nice deep elbow bend there. This back part of his forearm, not back part of his arm here, is spring loaded, so this can move up and down if you needed to. His elbow pad can also move on a hinge. If we get this all kind of bent up here, you can see the elbow pad can also move, and this section is spring-loaded as well, so that will move out of the way if you need it to. Now, as far as his midsection goes, he does have an ab crunch, and you do have to push in this part of his belly here. So you want to push that in, and then you can engage the ab crunch there. So you get a nice ab crunch going on if you need it. His waist is on a big ball joint, so you do have wiggly, waggly movement there as well. You get rotation. This part of his crotch is spring-loaded. He has a spring-loaded crotch, so that can move out of the way some to accommodate any movement there. So you get some nice articulation there. Moving down to the crotchial region, because we do have to talk about that as well. These bits right here are on a double ball joint here. Yeah, that's a weird place to say double ball joint, because it's right where it should be, but hey, anyway, these can move in and out, and each of these sections here is on a hinge, so you can kind of take these and pose these how you want. So you got some articulation there if you need it. You kind of pose those however you wish. Oh, let's talk about his hands. We haven't talked about his hands yet. So his hands are fully articulated as well. Of course, the wrist itself is on a big old ball joint here. So you got rotation and also some inward and outward movement there. Fingers are fully articulated. The thumb is on a ball joint at the base right here, and there's a hinge there and a hinge there. So you can kind of get that thumb pretty much going wherever you want. And each finger is on a ball joint at the base itself. And then you have a hinge here, and a hinge here. So you can get those fingers nice and splayed out if you want to. And you can curl those fingers up all nice like. And you can make a pretty good looking fist. And me personally, I don't know why, but I appreciate figures that can make a good looking fist. So we got that. So I think I'm done with everything as far as the arms go. So now let's continue with the legs here. So these hip panels here are on a double ball joint, so you can kind of move those around how you need to accommodate the leg movement. I'm going to pop this off. It just pops on via a ball joint here. I'm just going to pop that off just so you can see what's going on here. As far as the hips go, the hips can actually slide out. It's a little stiff, but there you go. You can see, well, we don't want to look at that yet, but the hips will slide out a bit there to accommodate the leg articulation, and the hips themselves will also slide down, and that just gives you a lot of extra range of movement. So as far as the legs go, he can get his feet way up. You can pretty much do the big boot there. And as far as outward movement goes, again, if you get this out of the way, you can get his legs pretty much all the way out. Whoops, pop that off. Sorry, just on a ball joint, but you can do the full splits there. So you get those extra bits there to help with the leg articulation, which is quite cool. Let me pop this back on. Get back in there. Get back in there. Get back in there. I'll fix this later. Just popped off. But now, continuing with the articulation here. Knees are on a double joint here, so you get a little over 90 degrees of a bend. You do have this section right here, which is on a also spring-loaded, so that'll move out of the way. If you needed to, you even get some detail that's revealed in the knee itself when you bend it, which is quite cool. And moving down to the feet that I mentioned, he has a thigh rotation. Yes, he has thigh rotation. Thighs can rotate. Now, as far as the feet go, this little panel right here will move up to accommodate the feet movement, as well as this little section back here is on a double ball joint here, so that will move out of the way to accommodate the foot movement as well. And the feet are just on a big ball joint, so they can move up, they can move down. You get tiltage as well as rotation, and it does have a toe joint as well. Did I mention his arms can rotate? His arms can rotate. They can rotate. Of course they can rotate. And they rotate on a nice ratchet joint there. A lot of ratchet joints on this figure. So everything just feels nice and solid. So yeah, tons of articulation on this guy. So now let's talk accessories. So you do get his shield right here, which is beautifully done. With that nice metallic red and blue paint. Again, the detailing there with the flames looks really good. And you got some Cybertronian writing on it as well. Again, just looks, you know, kind of scuffed up, scratched up, like it's been in some battles, as it should. You got some nice gold in there, and some like bronze. Looks really cool. Even the back of it has some nice detail as well. Some bits of gold picked out there, some of that blue. So even the back is nicely detailed. These little bits right here do come packaged separately. They just peg right on. So you just peg those on like so. And if you happen to break these or lose them, they do give you an extra pair. So very nice that they give you some spare parts here. So in case you do something to these, you got backups, which is always nice. But yeah, there you have his shield. And of course he has his sword, which is quite good looking and quite large, as you can see. That thing is, that's a big sword right there. We're getting close here, and again you got that Cybertronian writing going down the blade itself. Again, just wonderfully detailed. And the paintwork just looks fantastic, in my opinion anyway. I think that looks great. So that detail there in the handle. Red, that gold in there, that bronze. Looks really good. So you got that. You also get these sections here, which are made for the shield, and we'll show off all this works in a little bit. But you have this section here. You got these like collapsed barrels here. Again, that's meant for the shield. And you have a triple barrel cannon here. Again, that is meant for the shield. We'll show off all this works in a bit. You get some swappable forearm pieces for the weapons. And again, we'll show off how this works in a bit. You get his little forearm blade here, which is also very nicely done on both sides. So you got that. You get various accoutrements for weapon holding and storage. And again, we'll show off all this works in a bit. And you also get an optional mouth there for prime. And the first thing we'll show off is how to swap out the mouth plate here. It's very simple. It just holds on via a magnet. So you just pop it off. And you just take this and just pops right on via the magnets. And there you go. You can have a mouth plateless prime if you want. You have the option. And as always, options are good. But as you can see, this is also just very detailed and looks quite good. Now moving down to his form here, his left form, you do have swappable parts here. And to remove these, it takes a little bit of doing. It is just kind of on a big tab, and it's quite stiff. There we go. It's actually the easiest I've had taking that off, but it just pops right off, as you can see. So if we pop off this one, and we also pop off the bottom one here, just pop that off also. Again, it's just on a big tab right there. We can now replace it with this piece, which has a peg on it, like so. And if you want, you can just put this one back on. Just for the sake of demonstration, we'll just, kind of get this back on. Come on. Gotta make sure everything's lined up just right, which I don't. There you go. Helps if you've been to form. There we go. So when you have that set up, you can now take his forearm blade, and there's a port right there, and you can just take it and peg it on, and there you go. Now he has his forearm blade ready to go. Now another thing we can do here is we can just remove all this, just pop this back off. You always have to pop off this top section first. And come on, there we go. Pop that off, and pop that off. Let's get in there. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Just pop that off. And we can just replace it with the regular piece again. Just pop that back on. And we can replace the top piece with this section here that has this peg on it. And again, it pops off and on just like the original did. And again, it's a point of kind of lining things up. Popping that on. And this post right here is where his shield will plug onto. So we'll just leave that set up like that for now. And now let's talk about the shield, because there's quite a few things we can do with the shield here. So we can split this open like so. This one side likes to get stuck. Come on, there we go. So we can split the shield open like so. And one display option here for the shield is you can take this section here and just pull off this tip right here, and everything holds on via magnets. And you just take this, and this will just pop on, boop, right there, like so. And you take these, retracted barrels here, and this will just, boop, just pop onto that side, and you have that set up right there for the shield if you want. Another one is we can just pop this off and pop this off. And what we can do here is first we take these two sections and just, pop them back together like that. And we can fully open up the shield here. You want to take these blue sections here and just, it already came untabbed, but you want to untab these blue sections here like so. And they're on a little rail here, and you just take them and you just slide them over like so. So just untab it and just slide it over like so. And then you take these side pieces here and they just untab and flare out like that. So you got that going on. So now we take this whole assembly here, and now this will just pop onto the back like that. And you take the full extended barrels here, and this will just pop on right there like so. And there you have the shield with the guns on them, which is really, really cool. And these guns do actually have a light up feature. The battery compartment is right back here. This little panel here just slides upward. It takes two LR44s, which are not included. You will have to get those yourself. And there's an on-off switch right there. And when you turn it on, the barrels glow a nice bright red. So you can have that going on if you want. So that's really, really cool. And we can take the shield in whatever configuration you want, and it just pegs right onto his forearm right there. And it just pushes right on. It does hold on very securely. There you go. We can give Prime his big old shield. And that's awesome. Now, as far as his sword goes, he can hold it in his hand without any assistance, and I'll talk about what I mean by assistance in a second here, but you can take the sword and just wrap his fingers around it, and he holds it pretty securely. It's not a dead solid grip, but, you know, you can hold it well enough with his bare hands. But what they give you here to assist is this little black clip right here. And what you do here is, you can see there are 2 tabs and there are 2 slots right here in the palm of his hand, and you just take this and just tab it in like so. This holds in very securely. So you just pop that into his palm like that, and then the sword will clip into that like so. And now, as you can see, even with his hand wide open, he's not dropping that sword. So you can just wrap his fingers around it, and now he has a nice solid grip on that sword. So there's Prime with his shield, with his sword, and again, that is freaking awesome. So now let's talk about storage, and you do have a couple options for what you want to do here. Everything does revolve around this bit right here. You can see it just has those 3 tabs, and this will just plug into the middle of his back right here, like so. So the first thing we can do is we can take this right here, and we can plug that on, and we can kind of angle that however you want. And you can take this, and this will hold his sword. So if you just want the sword on his back, that's how you go about just storing the sword on his back. So that's one option. You can also store the shield on his back, and if we just kind of pop all this off, remove that, let's put this back in here. We can store the shield as well, and you can have the shield in whatever configuration you want for storage. You can totally leave it all splayed out with the pieces attached to it if you want to. Me, I like to have it all closed up when I store it, but before you close it up entirely, you want to come here to the central piece and just pop this off. And we're going to replace it with this new piece here, and as you can see, this is a specific shape, so make sure you have it lined up properly, and that will just peg on like so. And then we can just close all this back up, and now this will plug into his back like that. And again, you can kind of have that angled however you wish. So we can plug that there, you can have a shield on his back, and then you can take the clip here for the sword, and this will now plug into the central portion of the shield, and you can have the sword there as well. So he can store his sword, he can tongue twister, he can store his sword and his shield. He can store his sword and his shield on his back if you wish. And the last thing to talk about has to do with this lovely mug of his, because his eyes do light up. Now the battery compartment is right on the top of his head here. Top of his head just pops off. Again, just holds on via magnets. And the batteries sit right in there. It takes 2 LR44s, which again are not included. And it just pops right back on, and there is a button right back here. That right there is a button, and when you press it, his eyes will boop, light up. And you can see when they're lit up blue, and when you push the button again, boop, I don't know how you can see it, but they go blue, and they go purple. I don't know how well that shows up. There we go, if we do that. There we go. So we got blue, and they go purple. There you go. So that's really cool that the eyes do change colors there. So if you want full-on Nemesis Prime, you can get the purple lights going. If you want to be Optimus again, there you go with the blue eyes. So that's quite cool. So there you have that. And now for comparison. Here he is with Combiner Wars Devastator, just so you can get a sense of the size of this guy. If you want an actual measurement, he stands at almost 19 inches tall. He's like 18 3/4 inches tall, right at the top of his head. So yeah, he is definitely a nice sized figure. Here he is with the Unique Toys version. And yeah, he's a little guy. He's just a little guy. Looks like a little boy with his papa. Look at him. Oh, look at him. And here he is with the 3A Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime. So you can see how they look side by side. And Last Night Prime is a little bit shorter. Than the Dark of the Moon Prime. But both of them are really, really great figures in my opinion. So there you go. So there you have 3A Optimus Prime. This figure is amazing. That's all I can say about it. This figure is absolutely amazing. I love it. The amount of detail, the paintwork is just absolutely spectacular in my opinion. He's way more posable than I was expecting him to be. Like, I love how there are so many parts on this figure that will just move out of the way to accommodate the articulation and give parts that extra range of movement. Like, it's just so well done. Now, I know people in the comment section are going to be saying, oh, I could buy one of those third-party primes for a fraction of the price and it can actually transform. And you're right. You're absolutely right. You are totally right. And as much as I love this figure, as much as I love the black magic that this performs with the transformation, this does not look that good. This looks like it jumped right off the screen. And that's what 3A does. That's what 3A is all about. They are not about engineering a transformation. They don't make Transformers in the literal sense of the term. They're about making highly detailed, super accurate representations of Transformers characters. They're about making action figures of these characters, not engineering transformations. That's their mission, and as far as this figure goes, they knocked it out of the park. So even if you're gonna say boo because it doesn't transform, I hope you can at least give credit where it's due, because the people who put this figure together, you can tell they put a ton of work into this, they put a ton of love into this, and it definitely shows. Because this thing looks amazing. Like I said, it looks like it jumped right off the screen, and, you know, I personally am very, very happy with it. So there you go. Now, if you would like this or any other 3A products, you can always check out BigBadToyStore.com for availability. There will be a link in the description down below, so you can check that out. You can also check out my Transformers Movie Toys playlist for any reviews you may have missed. Also linked in the description down below, so you can check that out as well. And I think that's it. So don't forget to check out EmGo's, check out Lori Plan, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff down in the description below. And I think that's pretty much all there is to say. So there is the 3A Transformers The Last Night Optimus Prime. And this is EmGo saying, remember, you don't stop playing because you grow old because you stop playing. Be geek, be proud. Boom in your face. Alright, Prime, let's see how you like me now! Really? You know what? I give up. You always gotta one-up me, don't you, Prime? It's always. Whatever.